The underworld isn't just run by men. You better believe it. Some of the deadliest forces in crime are women, from sex trafficking, drug trafficking, to executing cold-blooded assassinations. Stay with me until the end to find out the brutal truths of these dangerous women. K.I., Chicago's teenage assassin. By now, you might think gang assassins are always burly men with grim faces, but meet Gakira Barnes, known on the streets as K.I., a 17-year-old girl rumored to be a deadly hitwoman, feared assassin. Her father was killed before she could even remember him, and she grew up in a neighborhood where death was as commonplace as the music on her phone. Gakira herself didn't shy away from the infamy. On social media, she allegedly taunted rivals under the handle Taekwon Assassin and posted pictures with guns, almost as if daring anyone to challenge her. A gang hitwoman at 14. Over the years, K.I. became a mythic figure in gang culture, and she was on the radar of both gangs and law enforcement. In 2011, 20-year-old Odie Perry, a well-known member of a Chicago gang, was gunned down in a targeted shooting. Online chatter quickly pointed fingers at Gakira Barnes by claiming she had been the shooter behind the hit. One rival gang member's tweet about her death read, "Lol, so Odie was killed by a girl somehow," mocking the idea that a teen girl could cause such destruction. Her role as a feared assassin made her stand out. "I only fuck with K.I.," one senior member of her gang tweeted before her death by adding, "'Cause she do what you scared to do." This wasn't just street talk. It was an acknowledgement that Gakira Barnes was not a young girl in the typical sense. By 2014, she was linked to several murders. But strangely, police never officially named her a suspect in any shooting. Despite her reputation, Barnes remained out of prison. K.I. had up to 15 shootings under her belt by the time she was gunned down herself during a gang-related ambush. On 11th April 2014, Barnes was murdered in a hail of bullets. She was brutally shot 9 times in the chest, neck, and jaw. She died on the very same streets where she had lived, and the killer ultimately claimed her life. Police documents named Davon Bennett, known as King Von, a member of a rival gang, as the shooter responsible for her death. La Diablita, the little devil of MS-13. Now let's talk about Lenise Escobar, or well known in the streets as La Diablita, the little devil. The world of MS-13 is not only a male-dominated jungle. The women of MS-13 are often the ones who set the deadly traps. In 2017, Escobar was part of a horrifying MS-13 ambush on Long Island. She lured several teenage boys to a park where they were surrounded by a dozen armed MS-13 members who proceeded to hack them to death. MS-13 gang members surrounded the teens and attacked them brutally with machetes, knives, an axe, and clubs. This was a cold, calculated act of violence by Escobar herself. Victims were targeted because MS-13 members believed they belonged to a rival gang and allegedly disrespected MS-13 by posting photos on social media, a move seen as a direct provocation. In gang culture, especially within MS-13, disrespect is not taken lightly. Escobar gained respect within the gang for her ruthlessness. And if you're a woman willing to get your hands dirty, you can earn respect sometimes more than you ever imagined. And Escobar did just that. In MS-13, one of the most feared street gangs, infamous for using women as bait or mules to carry out its violent agenda. But in the case of Escobar, the gang saw more than just a tool. But her downfall came when she was arrested and sentenced to 50 years in prison for her involvement in the murder. But in her trial, Escobar showed no remorse. Italian mafia mamas. Meet Pupetta Maresca, a young widow who turned her grief into a weapon. In 1955, Maresca's husband was murdered, and she was 6 months pregnant. That day, she vowed revenge. In broad daylight, she shot and killed the man responsible for her husband's death, a mafia boss himself. At her trial, she declared, "I would do it again in a heartbeat." She was sentenced to prison, but her defiance made her a legend. Pupetta later went on to be known as Lady Camorra, one of the first women to rise within the ranks of Italy's brutal Neapolitan mafia, not as someone's wife, but as a leader in her own right. But Pupetta is not the only woman who found power in the Italy mafia underworld. Let's talk about a real-life female mafia boss. Maria Liccardi, also called La Piccolina, which means the little one. Don't let the nickname fool you. Even though she was small in size, she had big plans and power. After her brother died in the 90s, she took over the Camorra Mafia group in Naples, Italy. Maria brought together different mafia families and made them stronger. Under her rule, they made more money from selling drugs and were even involved in smuggling women. She was known as the brains behind many mafia deals in Naples. For many years, she was on Italy's most wanted list. Police couldn't catch her. Then in 2021, they finally arrested her at the airport. In 2023, when she was 71 years old, Maria was sent to prison for almost 13 years. And Liccardi is not alone. There is Giuseppina Vitale, who took over a Sicilian clan in the 2000s. Rosetta Cutolo, who managed her brother's Camorra empire from behind the scenes. The 'Ndrangheta wives, who handle millions in cocaine money while their men hide out. The list goes on. They call them Le Padrine, the godmothers, often soft-spoken and well-dressed women who slip under the radar while running the show. These mamas of the underworld teach us that power often thrives in the shadows. Share what you think. Women in motorcycle gangs. But in biker gangs like the Hells Angels, Bandidos, Outlaws, and Pagans, women have often been seen as property, literally. These clubs are proud of being men only, so women usually join as girlfriends or wives of male members. Wives and girlfriends were given the title of property of, a label meant to keep them loyal to the men in the club. But don't let the label fool you. Some of the most important work in these outlaw clubs is done behind closed doors by their women. They handled finances, helped with smuggling, drug trafficking, and sometimes even brokered deals between rival clubs, just like silent power that kept the operation running smoothly, while the men fought their battles. It's a life full of contradictions, exploitation and power in the same breath. Cops don't usually suspect them as much, which gives them the perfect cover for illegal activities. So, are biker women powerless or powerful? The truth is, it's both. Many proudly call themselves an old lady as a badge of honor, a sign of loyalty and love in a cutthroat world. Others feel trapped by realizing the freedom was mostly for the men. The key to these women's success: underestimation. In a world that doesn't expect them to be dangerous, these women exploit the blind spot society and law enforcement create. For women like Pupetta Maresca, this underestimation worked in her favor. She was seen as a grieving widow, but behind the scenes, she became a ruthless leader. And for women like Akira Barnes and Lenise Escobar, this blind spot allowed them to carry out deadly missions without anyone batting an eye until it was too late. In fact, women in crime organizations are able to evade suspicion longer than men because society doesn't take them seriously as threats. That's the real danger. Psychologically, women who get involved in crime often have very different motivations from their male counterparts. Many are driven by trauma, abuse, and a need for protection. But once they are in, many become just as ruthless and cold-blooded as the men they work with. Violence among female criminals is often strategic. They don't rush in. Like La Diablita, with her calm demeanor, was able to organize a massacre without drawing suspicion. If you think this is all history, think again. From the US to Europe, women are still making their mark in the world of organized crime. In Virginia, Sylvia Bonicia de Gendres, a 40-year-old MS-13 member, wanted in El Salvador for extortion and terrorism, was arrested after hiding in the US. In Texas, Estefania Primera, known as La Barbie, was charged with sex trafficking after drugging and selling a woman at an El Paso hotel. Across the Atlantic, Welsh drug gang matriarch Lynn Layson was captured after 14 months on the run. And in Germany, 65-year-old Daniela Kletta, linked to the Baader-Meinhof gang, was arrested after evading capture for over 30 years. These stories show us that the underworld is no longer just a man's world. Women have been driving the violence. So, are these women just as dangerous as the men? Or do they rely on different tactics to gain power? Share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Until the next chapter in the Outlaw book.